It's our weekly conversation with Milwaukee Admirals head coach Karl Taylor. Coach, thanks for the time. This last weekend, Freddy Allard made his NHL debut for the Nashville Predators. He became the 14th player from last year's squad to make it to the National Hockey League and play in a game this season. 11 of those with the Predators. 6 others have been on a taxi squad this year. So 2/3, 20 out of 31 players have been on an NHL roster this year. That really is amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, you know what? We're as a staff and as an organization, obviously we're very proud of the team we had last year. But it's just another example of the people we had involved with our group and what we're trying to do in Milwaukee, and the people that Nashville has given us to work with. So uh, the interesting part, obviously, Nashville's had some injuries, and that's been part of it. But our guys have gone and played well and filled in and done their jobs very well with the opportunity that's been presented. And outside the organization, I just watch highlights, and Colin Blackwell's on a tear. He's doing great with the Rangers. I think he has 10 points. I think he's playing with Panarin. So he's doing a great job. And lots of guys have gone on to have lots of success this year, and they should. That's something we talked about last year with the team we had. The longer we play, the more games we win, the more opportunity there's going to be for coaches, trainers, players, for everyone. And so obviously we wanted to build on that. It is a unusual high number this year with the taxi squads and the different situations occurring, but to have that many players actually get into games and then have success, it's something the coaching staff is very proud of.
You mentioned it's injuries, whatever it might be, but what Colin Blackwell is doing, and Troy Grosnick wins a game in the NHL for the first time in nearly 7 years. Players are being put into, and again, for whatever reason, but they're specifically in Nashville, they're being put into roles where they can succeed, roles that they excelled at in Milwaukee and worked on in Milwaukee, and they're getting to do that at the NHL level, and that is rewarding for everyone.
Yeah, it is. You know, we when they're looking at the guys and whether they, John Hines and I will discuss different players. He'll ask me how I've used them. Obviously, like for John, it's he hasn't seen some of our guys. Like we got pretty deep down the list, and a guy like Freddy Allard, who we're so proud of and so excited for him to 4 years he's been grinding. He finally got a game, and what a great moment for him and his family. And but he's a guy that hasn't been in front of John Hines. He wasn't at the camps. We haven't had a real camp yet. He hasn't. John hasn't seen him. So there's situations like that where I have to give a little bit of a background about the player, and they also reach out and talk to Greg and Scott as well, because that's our defense and forward coach, and they're trying to gain all the information they can to be able to use the player and utilize them. But when you saw Jeremy Davies go on the first power play unit, I think that was exciting for all of us. We were nervous for him, but we were excited that he was getting that opportunity. He's definitely got the skill set. And then last night again, I saw Alex was on the power play. So they're trying to use the guys in the similar roles, and that makes sense to me. They're the type of players that we have here, and a lot of times, in the past, you'd see a top scorer get pulled up and go on the fourth line and maybe get 2 or 3 minutes of ice time, and they're like, well, you didn't score, so we're going to send you back down. So right. It's the old catch-22. So it's great to see guys being used in the roles, and that's a real credit to the staff in Nashville and what they're trying to do.
Well, it's a credit to Milwaukee too, and it is a credit to the players in the fact, one, they have to have talent, but the aptitude. And you have talked often about the players' willingness and how they yearn to learn, if you will, and they are willing to take constructive criticism, and they use it to the best of their abilities.
Yeah, there's no question. Our group is the group we had the last couple of years. It's not even just last year, but obviously there's lots of players we had in both seasons. But the group is very eager and very hungry to learn. When we do our skills sessions, and Scott Ford works very close with the defensemen, and Greg with the forwards, and a lot of our skill work. The players are always asking for more. I want more. How do I get better? Tanner Janot, how do I get better? I got to finish. I have to score more. I have to work on these touches. How am I going to improve? How am I going to get rid of this obstacle that's in front of me, stopping me from getting the opportunity that I want? And every player has different obstacles. We talk about it all the time. and it's an opportunity for them to stare them down, address, get better at them, and hopefully when the opportunity comes, they're ready for it because they've done the work behind the scenes and also on and off the ice.
Well, and there too, I know you held several meetings in the off season with the team as it was constructed last year, wondering what was going to happen for the remainder of last year and even into this year. But it also, when you say behind the scenes, it says a lot about the willingness of these young men to work, in the fact that there was really no place to work in the off season. All the ice was shut down for the most part.
Yeah, it was a way different scenario, and for players, you're geared up to have a heavy lifting time, a light lifting time. So usually it's 3-4 months in the summer when they're doing the work, and then camp starts. Well, when that keeps getting extended, I talked to Scott Nickel a lot about it because I was trying to pick his brain about some of those lockout years in the NHL when you kept moving the date and you didn't know when it was going to happen, and try to pick some stuff out of other people's brains about how they dealt with that and the moving target. And I think our group did a very good job fitness wise and doing the work they needed to do. Behind the scenes, our staff, we split up our team in different groups. Every coach had 8-9 guys to work with. And we just dug into a lot of different things where it was more, we were facilitators. It wasn't like we were trying to correct. We were like, pick any player, and the group that we had, Rempet, like, what do you want to work on? Oh, I got to get better on faceoffs. All right, how are we going to work on that? How do we do that virtually? So, just for a quick example with Rem, I call Law, get some Paul Gosted video. He was an excellent centerman. We get the video, we watch it together. I'm like, you know what? I know Paul. I'll give him a call. Maybe you guys could connect and have a conversation. And so as a coach, you're trying to put people together to help the athletes get what they need to improve in a different coaching virtual environment. And him and Rem and Paul had a conversation about face-offs and different tactics, and we're going to tap into every resource we can over that time to try to help the players improve, so that if they got the opportunity like they are now, they would make the most of it.
You've been in a situation in Texas, and I look at that Dallas team and so many players in Dallas. It was your team when you were there 3 years ago, the Rope Hintz and Dennis Gurianov, and the list goes on. And I'm just wondering, is it a timing thing? Did you realize so many players, and granted there were injuries this year, many injuries this year, but did you realize so many players were close to contribute in some fashion or another?
Yeah, I think with the group we had last year, there's some players they're going to play eventually. You're not quite sure of the time or the date that will occur for them, but they were on the path. They have to do the work. The coaches and the coaching staff, for Greg and Scott and myself, our job is to try to shorten that development time and also get them there sooner. So increase the asset, shorten the development time so that there's more value in the entry-level contract. Obviously, with the way contracts and the salary and the cap is, we need to try to find ways to get younger players there sooner to allow the team to use the funds in different areas when we have more movement with the entry-level contracts. So that's a huge mandate for us as a staff and something we try to do. There's lots of players on our team that can play in the NHL last year. It's about opportunity. It's about timing. There's so many pieces that go together with it. The opportunity, what gets presented with that opportunity. Matty Olivier didn't come to the summer Bumble Cap. So, he was probably disappointed about that. So when he comes into training camp, he's a very motivated player. He's on his game. He's in shape. And he makes the team out of camp. And he wasn't even part of the bubble group. So maybe not being a part of that was extra motivation for Mr. Olivier to find a way to just dig in, and I got to do more. And it wasn't the point of him not coming. You were only allowed so many people. And so decisions had to be made, but he obviously grabbed that and used that in a proper manner to motivate himself and then come to training camp in the fall and put his best foot forward. So we knew there's lots of guys close. It's hard to put a time or a stamp on it, and to see the guys go up and then have extended stays. And that's the last message we tell players when they leave or they're going for a call up is, hey, the coaches and management have a plan right now, and maybe it's a weekend visit, maybe it's a 1 week trip. Your goal as a player is to make it longer than they anticipate. And so that's always the last word. And I think our group is doing a very good job of that right now.
I think there's a great value too, and this will be the last one here, but there's a great value in getting that game if it's one game, but there's a great value in realizing that it's close. There's a great value in having a reward for the work you have done. And specifically, I'm thinking of Freddy Allard, 4 years in the minors, 188 games in the AHL, 3 more in the ECHL. Having that carrot, I mean, you keep reaching for it. And if you don't reach it, it gets depressing, it gets frustrating. But to have that chance, and maybe that's the only game he gets this year, who knows? But at least he had that, and he knows he's in the mix, and his mindset can be, I'm this close. I know I can play in this league.
Okay, so I played in the OHL, and I didn't get drafted, and then I played Canadian University. I still wish I would have got one game just to see how close or how far away you truly are of having that opportunity. So I think everybody who's ever put skates on wants to have a chance to see what it is and taste it and hear it and experience it like our group has had the opportunity to do. Obviously, as a staff, we're very thankful that the guys are getting those looks, and we're really proud of what they've done. We suggest things, we work with them, we guide them, but in the end, it's on the players. They have to do the work. They have to receive the coaching and become very coachable individuals. And some days it's very difficult for players because they got to stare down some things they don't want to really recognize, and they just have to make a decision. These are my obstacles. Coaches are making them present to me. Here's how I have to get through this. And then the opportunity comes. And for a guy like Fred Allard, who has just been a great individual in Milwaukee, he's a great teammate, great energy all the time. We could not be more proud of Freddie getting the opportunity. And I know he called, I'll share this little tidbit that it's a personal inside story, but him and Scott Ford had a nice phone call, and Freddie was very excited. And I think it was something around, we did it. So it's a great thing to understand the relationships that we get to build with these young men, and how invested we are and how invested they are, and how excited the moment can be when someone gets an opportunity to reach out and touch their dream and get that one game and hopefully build on it and get more. So great kudos to Freddie and all the guys that are getting the opportunities they are.
That's a great story. Coach, thanks so much for the time. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
All right. That's Milwaukee Admirals head coach, Karl Taylor.